All right, what's going on, guys? Good afternoon, or good evening. I'm sorry, the afternoon is a long time ago now. It's 6:27. So just wanted to jump onto this really quickly because I wasn't planning on doing a scan tonight. But I do think QQQ could see some selling here off of that dark pool print at 497, 496. If you guys remember, we were pretty much targeting this all year. I don't want to say all year, but for like the last 3-4 months, I would say, for a move back up into this level here, right? Progressively climbed up. We caught bits and pieces of it, but we ultimately ended up hitting that on like Tuesday or Monday, Tuesday, and then we had a pretty notable print on the sell side here on Tuesday with a nice engulfing candle, and then we ended up pressing down to the bottom of the progression gap here, which is this green line, and that's actually where I went long yesterday on Wednesday. I closed out kind of near the highs here, but obviously it would have been a crazy trade if we traded it back to the NWOG, which I have marked here. If you guys are new, which I don't think there is any new people, I've kind of had that link on for a while. New weekly opening gap, right, from Friday close to the Monday open, right? There's a nice NWOG here, so we kind of sold through that. Likelihood of us retesting it is very, very high, and we did retest it and retested this essentially this dark pool print slash this gap. We saw another high sell volume day, right? This candle's green just because I use hollow, but yeah, this was a red bar here, right? And the reason it's green, if you guys didn't know, is because it's above the prior day's close, even though it was a red day today. But yeah, pretty insane sell-off today. And essentially, I went short once again. I was waiting for it to kind of push up into the NWOG here and either retest the top of it and then sell and then retest the bottom of it. And it did both of those in succession, right? I didn't add necessarily on this one, which I should have, and I should have obviously added some more size into there. I got my entry like right around here, I want to say, essentially when I was testing the bottom, and risk was like 496, so I wanted to have bulls potentially make a new high against me over the top of this this big seller, right? There's obviously a seller in this general range around 497. We know that from a data standpoint and also a candle standpoint. We can obviously see the volume, we can see the daily prints there, and I want to force them to make a new high against me. Now, also too, I don't like to ever like really incorporate too much speculation or theory, but a lot of people, guys, are so positioned for this like end of year rally at the wrong spot, right? A lot of people, unlike us, have really like missed out on these higher lows because they've been so scared, right? They've been scared of like news stuff coming out. I remember back here was like the whole Nvidia scare. There was the Iran, was it Afghanistan? No, it was Iran Israel conflict. People were scared to take that. And those were essentially just the higher lows to be taking calls or taking long side positions. And now when it kind of gets to the top of the gap and we only got so much juice left, people are now piling in for the quote unquote end of year rally. But also timing's a big thing too. Not only are we getting close to that election, but we're also getting close to that window of weakness that occurs after those Vana charm flows kind of come in at the beginning of the month. So obviously that has now passed. We're at the midpoint of the month. We have OPEX tomorrow on the 18th. The expiration was on Wednesday. So very, very intriguing time phase, if you will, in between now and the election, right? We're actually in a window where we could see some selling happen, right? And a lot of people, like I said, are positioned thinking this is a guarantee, the pre-election run-up, and that's not how it's going to occur, in my opinion. I think we'll actually see quite a large sell-off into the election and maybe a little bit post-election, and then a regathering of that equity or whatever it may be post-election, kind of going into December. But a lot of people, I think, now just feel like they missed out, and they're trying to get into these trades right before the election. And we've seen this time and time again. And just kind of looking at the spots of where people are longing, it's getting very congested. You're seeing some weird signs, man. You're seeing some very, very weird signs. So I am playing it not necessarily super heavy short here, but I did start that short position. And what I would really like to see, guys, is this kind of just sell down right underneath, obviously, today's low, around that, what is it, 491, 491.19, and then obviously make its way down into this old level here. What is that, 488, 488.28. So that's that progression gap low. If it can sink below that, guys, and just kind of give like something like that. I do think that we come down and test the sig print down here. Remember, there was a large signature print around 481.92. That's still pretty important. Those signature prints I usually keep on for about like 2 to 3 weeks. But if we take a look at like that 481 level, that's pretty much this gap up, right? So if we take it, it's a little bit off. It's at 480 or 4. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, so this is that small gap down here, right? So this is the gap up from Monday into Tuesday. So this is pretty much just playing into these minor gap ups, and then every single pop so far that we've seen this week has been sold off rather heavy. So I would like to see it kind of break down under 488.28, and then see it trade down into that 481 level. If we can get this move down into that 481 to 478, I think this is where I'll actually go pretty heavy short, guys. I've talked about this a lot, where we have this pretty clean support here, right? We've talked about this a lot. Multiple days, and let's actually show this on the hourly or the daily really quickly. Right here, right? You can see the gap up, daily low, daily low, daily low, daily low, daily low, right? So about 4 or 5 days of pretty much daily equal lows, sitting right around 478.83. And then if we can flush through that, we have that massive 471 dark pool print just here, right? And this is what started that gap up into this next range. So long story short, I'll kind of draw this out again, is if we can get that sell even further down into 478, retest 478, I would look for rolls down to that 471, right? And then ideally, that's kind of right around election time. I can't say exactly how the timing will look, but hopefully it's kind of right around election time. We start to kind of flatten out against that 471 spot, and then from there, I would look to start positioning once again into my swing trades, right? MU starting to look how I want. This is even better because we have a gap essentially right where we want it to be, right? We want it right around that retest of 108.78. So this ended up kind of hitting that high from Thursday, September 26th. We can use this as our footprint candle, and really we just want to see this sell down, control right around this general range. I drew this out a long time ago, guys, and then look for the continuation back up. Likely get some kind of progression gap high or higher low support there, breaking base above 114, and then kind of continue its trajectory. This chart is firming up really nice, and I always talk about healthy charts. This chart's looking really good. Despite that high volume sell-off today, we just want to see the next couple days mitigate and kind of pull back to retest this key zone here, guys. This is going to be a big watch for me. I told you guys with crowd I was going to go heavy with that one. This is the next one where I'm going to go heavy. I do have those MUs, the O1s, basically the January 17th 130 calls. Those have pushed over 115% or whatever. I did trim those down today. I don't know if I put that in here. Let me look at the chat. I'm like 90% sure I did. Yeah, so I did put that in here. Okay, so I trimmed down MU. I will basically let this kind of pull back and start to kind of consolidate against this 108.78. And instead of just re-adding it to those Januaries, what I'll do is I'll roll, right? I'll probably take some like February contracts or, just get some more time. I don't really see a reason to kind of go even more aggressive or exaggerated expiration. I want to be able to play this with some time behind me because we are seeing a little bit of I don't want to say weakness in chips. We definitely saw some kind of weird event happen after that ASML news, right? But I still want to get some time behind this, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to go pretty heavy with this one. I haven't looked at pricing for the Februaries, which I might as well just do it right now. So just 1 second, guys. I'm gonna take a drink of water too, so I'm not hitting like a bong or anything. Oh. Okay, so I'm opening up my chain. So if we go like February, or let's do March, like 130 for March. Those are kind of expensive. Those are $700, so probably not those. Oh, they're both. March. Oh, no, I clicked the same one twice. Sorry. So February 130s. Yeah, like $600. I wouldn't mind paying that because you got to think these are going to pull back a little bit more from the current level that we're at. I mean, if we can get a pullback down to like that's like 2% or $2. I'm taking it from the open. Let's get like right around here. Yeah, like $2 or $3. I think these contracts can pull down a little bit more, maybe down to like the 5s. I would be comfortable taking those. So like February 130s, right around $500. Probably take like I would pepper in still, but I would pepper in by 5. So I'd probably try to get to a max of like 30 to 40 contracts. So it's going to be a big one for me too. it's all relative to account size. Like I'm saying this is big because it's like I'm swinging this, and swinging that much equity overnight is kind of unsettling at times. And that's to go back, guys. I told you. I fucking told you, dude. TSM. Speaking of unsettling, right? I mean, dude, I should have never have stopped out of this, and I will forever hate some of you guys for making me feel responsible and not trading my plan. I mean, percentage wise, wasn't that crazy. Dollar wise, it was pretty bad. Like I said, this was 20 grand, but it never broke the fucking risk, and I should have added into these guys. I just want to vent, dude. Had I not stopped out of these on the October 18th contracts, I had like 80 contracts. I told you guys I had like 80. If I just would have added into this range and then continued to risk this spot here, I would have had either easily over 200 contracts, probably like a high 1.0 fill, low 2.0 fill. I had it initially like a 2.7, and these came down to like $100. But dude, fucking I mean, I probably would have closed the majority here, but let's just, for shits and giggles, if I would have held to expiration, brother, guys, these contracts went all the way to $2,800, right? From like a 2.7 fill. Let's say I didn't average in right here. Dude, if I did, dude, guys, this would have been like over fucking 300 grand if I had added in over a 600 grand trade. Like, oh, dude, I'm usually right, and I'm not trying to be that guy, but with some of these things that I get super convicted on, I'm usually right. I'm telling you guys, I need to get better at like sticking to my thing and kind of and that's what I've been doing, guys. If you haven't noticed, when I get into these trades now, I pretty much just ignore the noise, like just the general chat. I pretty much ignore anything until things kind of invalidate, and then I'll jump back in and kind of talk about it and just shoot shit with you guys. But I do trust myself, and I am still getting better at that. But TSM, man, I was slamming the table on this one. And this one hurts to look at. But MU's the next one. I'm not going to let anybody get in the way from this one, right? I'm not going to let anything happen. Worst case scenario, right, I'll probably like just go super insane if this sells all the way down. Actually, that's not true. If it sells underneath this 108.78, we'll be protected by that level then. So, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable going extremely heavy on this one, like 50, 60 cons, whatever I said earlier. But, yeah, that'll be reserved for that. But in terms of, like, everything else, right, I think, like, AMD here, not comfortable adding into it just yet. It's unfortunate, but like just kind of looking our swing low to our swing high here. This could pull down into the 618 to the 0.5 and kind of break everybody out of this like trend line retest. Currently, right, I still have the 10 contracts, which isn't crazy for me, guys. You got to realize that. I had 5 contracts as runner. I added another 5 into this like kind of big sell-off bar here on Tuesday, which a lot of the semis experienced. And since then, we've had 2 inside bars within that Tuesday sell-off, so it's not the worst. Albeit today wasn't the best. I wish it would have held that Wednesday high. But we're still kind of holding that Tuesday low, right? That high volume sell-off. Volume has mitigated since then. We're kind of holding that trend line here. If we go to the weekly as well, it's still holding like this 921, right? 920, whatever you guys have. Also, I'm pretty sure the 50 days here. Yeah, so it's kind of holding this range, and it doesn't look the worst. I think we might see some kind of news that reverses this back up, if I'm being completely honest. I'm still holding the 10. I did say if it closes with a weekly underneath 162, I would close these. I don't know about that. I don't know. I kind of want to hold these guys. I really do. I do think that this kind of does something like that. You got to think, too, Monday to Tuesday, it's not an NWOG necessarily, but we have a nice little gap that we can trade to up into this whatever it is, 165 to like 163. That would be insane if we can move up in that quickly tomorrow and kind of reclaim that spot. But, I mean, there's an opportunity for this to trade back up into this and really just turn that into support, kind of like a rejection there, pull back, hold, right? And that's all we need. And then that gives us life, and then we can add into these contracts pretty healthily. I don't want to make this as heavy as MU. I feel like this has been trading a little bit more sporadically and it feels a little iffy. It feels like it is being manipulated. But I think that this is going to be a sick trade. But 162, it has to be over 162. I can't be adding down here, guys. And I know it doesn't make sense to some people. They're like, oh, well, you're going to get a better average, but you're adding into a loser, right? If this fails, like you're just adding into a loser, and there's no sign of real buying here. You want to be adding with buyers, with good signs of buyers, clear levels that are reclaimed where other buyers want to join in, right? And it just doesn't make sense to add anything more than what I currently have. So that's why I haven't done that. And then as for crowd, Yes, I was kind of being a bitch today. I admit that. I mean, I had a great entry here off of these lows from Tuesday, Wednesday, right, and then we had a big pop. Obviously, retested the close from Wednesday, and then continued higher. I did trim into the highs today. I said I was going to take trims at 316. I trimmed at 313. Whatever, not a big deal. But the reason I did that is I am still a little worried about QQQ. I mean, I think that we could see that broader tech sell-off, that broader market pullback, if you will. And if that were to happen, right, I mean, once again, I said I would go heavier in QQQ if we can get underneath this 478 spot, and then I'd be able to kind of milk, what is it, $7 or so. That's kind of what I would do, and then flip longs again. But crowd definitely has my attention still. Ideally, this can kind of just, once again, it does something like this. This should look familiar to MU, where we have the bid that catches off where it needs to catch. It kind of pushes up, retests, gets, at least, I wouldn't say a retest, but gets pretty damn close to that level, and then maybe comes back down and kind of holds the top of this progression gap now, right? It's not even a progression gap, right? It's basically that 300 psych to that 302 lower high. But if it can just kind of do something like that and not sell off as heavy as some of these other names, right? Just kind of have relative strength. This would be such a fire trade, guys. I'm telling you, this would be a sick one. But there's also the potential that it doesn't even need to pull back, right? What if I'm wrong? That's why I kept half. I didn't trim everything, but I did trim a good amount, right? So that's the reason I did that, because there's tons of roll opportunities. And right now, if you guys haven't really noticed, the theme has kind of been just take profits into strength, add on pullbacks, profits into strength, add on pullbacks, and keep laddering, keep rolling, using profits to add into fresh strikes, right? And from what I've been doing too, it's also been pretty helpful just to add into the laggers, right? A lot of these names have clear names that are leading, but the names that are leading are at these really awkward highs, right? Where it's kind of just scatterbrain at the top, and people are basically just kind of buying and then praying that it just rips for a new high over the previous day high. I'd rather add into some of these more structurally sound levels, right? And the crowd's a big one. I know some people were like looking at what was it, ZS? No, it wasn't ZS. What was it? Oh yeah, Zscaler. This was a big one. I probably should have caught this, but you can see like a lot of these names, guys. Like I think even PanW, great move. Yeah, so a lot of these names have been ripping back up to the new highs, whereas Crowd obviously had that that kind of blanket, that news, but it's still trending beautifully, guys. This is one of the best charts I think out there. So I don't want to take my attention off of this one. I'm just going to keep rolling as new highs are made, and then adding on like pullbacks of those previous highs until it doesn't work, right? Or until we get all the way up here. Right, I think we're going to push all the way to this gap. And there's no real point to take my eyes off of this chart. But that's all I wanted to go over. I mean, I've really shrunk things down, guys. If you haven't noticed, I mean, like there was a ton of stuff on the watch list at the beginning of the week. Admittedly, I probably should have kept my eyes on Nike still. I don't know about this chart anymore. It's definitely pushed up into this gap here, but kind of off the watch list for now. I mean, I also liked Roku, right? Roku. But this is one of those charts that I talk about. I really don't like trading too much. If you guys remember, we caught it back here into the 9, but it still had some. It was pretty close to risk still. Risk would still be down right around here, around 72. I still don't know about this chart. Netflix obviously beat earnings, or they had a big move up. If you guys want to take a look here. Do this extended, right? We had a nice little push there, and as a result, Roku had a push up into that, pretty close to that gap. But still, it's not something, and I don't know if you guys have caught on it. I just don't like trading charts like this. I don't like buying the highs and then hoping for a pop out. It's gambling in my opinion. It doesn't have any kind of edge behind it. It's probably 50-50 or even less than that odds that it does this majority of the time. I'd rather let this sell off and kind of just ignore it until then. But yeah, Roku, haven't really done anything with that. I did have those contracts on shop still. It's, I think I had a bad entry. This is why, I mean, just to kind of openly admit it, like this is why I don't trade these. Like I don't like taking those calls at the highs. I think I took it here as it closed above. I'm in some drawdown here for these 8 contracts, but yeah, I'm just going to hold these until it kind of breaks underneath this little old high here, right? I mean, once it kind of breaks under 81, it gives me a close underneath that. I'll get out of those, but it still looks decent. But once again, I shouldn't have added this one, and that's my fault. Roblox, though, I mean, so just kind of progressively going down, right? Like Roku, that's why it's not on the watch list for me anymore. Shop, I really haven't talked about because like I just didn't have a good entry, and I don't want to really add into that one just yet. Roblox, we had a great move off of this initial day, almost a continuation on Wednesday. Today held the trend line. If it doesn't open back above 4080 or like close above this trend line tomorrow on Friday, I'll probably close this one out. This was kind of a speculative trade based off that volume print on the weekly and on the daily, and that would kind of save the higher low trend line. But yeah, I mean, this one might be a close. I'm not gonna lie. It just depends on tomorrow. But yeah, just to kind of go over things again. I mean, like I said, I've really shrunk things down. It's pretty much just crowd, MU. These are the two money makers, and these are what I'm going to be watching every day, all day. I really, like I said, there's a big opportunity here, guys. When you see these in the market, you don't take your eyes off of them. You stay patient for them, and you size accordingly. It doesn't mean you put like a mortgage on it or anything like that, but a little can go a long way. And then on those pops, you can always kind of take profits and then wait for the pullbacks, especially leading into resistance levels. So it doesn't hurt. You don't have to be quote unquote big balls and hold it the whole way. It doesn't make sense all the time, especially with spready contracts. And then AMD kind of comes down to tomorrow. I'll make a game time decision for myself if I want to hold these, even if it closes under 162. This one's just giving me weird vibes. I think it is going to have something come out with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And then obviously QQQ. But QQQ already positioned on these. If it can just sell under 488.28, retest that, sell it to 481. And then maybe a bounce from there, but really this thing starts to pick up under 478.83. This is where I'll add pretty heavy into these contracts, which I haven't done in a while in terms of going short heavy. This is where I'll take it, and then I'll look for that move all the way back down into this 471 spot. Cool. Hope for everyone enjoys. Be safe. I put it on Twitter, and I always tell you guys too. Stay alive, please. Please stay alive. Don't blow your account. Don't do anything crazy. If you need to sit out, sit out. If you're not good at shorting, don't short. Wait for the long. Just stay alive until after the election, please. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to people saying to trade fucking like full port Mara or full port miners or just be careful. I'm telling you guys, wait till post election, then we'll start to see a clearer picture, and then kind of going into that end of year, December, January, February. That's where you want to be kind of using your money. So, just burp. Sorry. Appreciate you guys. Once again, thanks for sticking with me. I know things have gotten slow, but I'm telling you guys, my trading and my P&L has been insane since I've slowed it down. And hopefully you guys are seeing the same, or at least seeing charts a little bit better. And some of you guys that are brand new probably aren't used to like swing trading and drawdown. Hey, I don't swing trade that often either, but the market is calling for it, and it's just calling for patience, right? This is historic times we're going through, guys. This is crazy shit. So it's important to just be smart, be safe, protect capital, and just wait for the right setups. So with that being said, I will conclude it there. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you on Friday.